My research very specifically is in leadership in organizations. So I study everything about basically what is it that makes a leader effective, and what is it that makes some leaders more effective than others. And very specifically, I study that leader-follower relationship, right? So I look at the kind of characteristics that make that relationship successful as well, right? So for the longest time, for example, we've thought that, it's really the subordinate's perception that this leader cares about me, and this leader, is going to provide resources, and this leader is going to be a benevolent leader towards me, right? But some of my research has taken this perspective that you cannot really start talking about the quality of that leader-follower relationship without taking the leader's perspective into account, So many times when there's not a good quality relationship, that's a very calculated move on the part of the leader, right? So in most recent research, that's what I've been doing. I've been including both parties' perspectives, and it's just amazing what we find, because there's usually not a very high degree of agreement. Even when the relationship is of great quality, these two parties don't see eye to eye, and that has so many implications for how we train supervisors, right? So that's one part in my research. The other side I look at in that leadership domain is emotions, and the minute I say that, especially in my MBA classes, people go, "What? You talk about feelings, in the business world?" And really, that's a very outdated way of thinking, right? Because for the longest time, I think we had this notion in business that, you leave your feelings at the door, walk in, and do your job, and that's all we care about, right? But there's a ton of science, mine included, that shows that we're actually not capable of leaving our feelings at the door, right? So what do? We bring it into the workplace, right? So if I'm angry, that starts to affect how I perform. If I'm happy, that starts to affect how I perform, right? So why not just study these things and make managers aware that you're not just managing people for their skill and their competencies, but you're also managing them for their feelings, It's actually a great resource if we know how to manage people's emotions.